Welcome to our panel today, Women in Leadership. During this roundtable, we're going to talk about how Swissport fosters inclusion through our values, how we promote a culture of inclusivity and diversity.
I would like to start with an analogy, because we talk about diversity and inclusion, but for me, diversity means being invited to the ball, and inclusion means being asked to dance. So this is a panel with regard to International Women's Day, but in reality, everything that we will discuss today with regard to diversity and inclusion is basically a general topic. If you want to grow as a business and be performant and successful, diversity and inclusion is the only way to get there.
So I think everything is start, as Ilse said, right, with the executive team supporting, right, the initiatives and really put diversity as part of top priorities, one of the top priorities of the company.
But before we dive deeper into the conversation, I want to ask you, what does inclusion mean for you?
I think inclusion means being willing to listen, being willing to entertain different ideas, and being willing to press back and say, no, I disagree, but I'm open to listening. Inclusion means being invited to dance, even though it's a song that you're perhaps not comfortable with.
I think to me, inclusion is looking beyond that first glance and really taking on the opinions of what people have to offer. I think inclusion is I, where it doesn't matter your gender, your race, or your disabilities, or whatever it is. It's the opinions, I think, that count the most.
It can be sometimes hard for your voice to be heard. Or there are situations that you feel you need to prove yourself harder to be treated as equal. But I think you can overcome that if you look at the same values and goals that you have. And if we look at how I try to solve that for my team and for the people that I work with, I really try to be an active listener. I make sure that when I make decisions that I value everybody's opinion. And in the recruitment process, I really pay attention to the diversity aspect.
Like what Stacey said, right? Not everyone has to agree, but you have to be open to those different opinions, different ideas.
I think we've all had certain coping or strategies that we've used, because I think probably all of us have been the only female in a room, in many, many rooms, and we've all had different strategies. Like I am a sports fan, and I've learned that's frequently a common denominator. So I will frequently, use sports analogies as a way to tear down some of those barriers that some people may feel, and it starts conversations in an organic way.
So how do we measure the success of an organization that is really pushing for these initiatives around diversity and inclusion? How can we see the benefits for that?
So what really have been changing the last years, that what we have been working in Swissport, right, what is important for us, it's how we make the employee experience to these unrepresentative groups good, right? Because for the sustainability of the business, the idea is not really track how many women we are bringing and how many is leaving, but also how is their experience, right, in the day by day, how really comfortable they are, how they feel heard, right, included, like really part, how we can make these females really, how I represent this company.
So when you think of winning as a team, right? What is a team? A team is being inclusive. So if we're not being inclusive, regardless of any perceived differences, we're just not going to win. We all have to go in the same direction. And if we focus on who the person is, what they contribute, what their intellectual value is, what their capabilities are, then it's a no-brainer. We will win as a team.
I think that winning as a team is clearly the most obvious answer, because it makes a lot of sense, right? But then we also have show you care. And what better way to show that you care than to include the person standing next to you into not just the conversation, but into the values that you hold dear, into growing your organization, pulling that person along into leadership.
So I want to now ground the conversation into what concrete steps we can take to empower, right, through the values. How do we empower the workforce within Swissport? Ilse.
So on the midterm, we're looking at enhancing the leadership level of women, because with the presence in 45 countries that we have, quite honestly, a very good diversity ratio at operational level. It is less good at managerial level, but we're working on that. And our goal is to have a 40% leadership representation by 2027. So more on the short term, we're working on specific leadership programs and mentorship programs for women. So the programs are almost ready, and we're going to roll those out in the next weeks. We are also working on employee resource groups. Well, we are a member of UN Global Compact because we drive the company towards a sustainable future. And so part of sustainability is diversity and inclusion. If you do not are diverse and inclusive as an organization, you're not ready for the future.
So I think everything is start, as Ilse said, right, with the executive team supporting, right, the initiatives and really put diversity as part of top priorities, one of the top priorities of the company, right? I think we have been hearing that in the town halls, right? Bringing the sustainability of our talent, the sustainability of our business, we need to include the diversity. So I think this is the first and the most important step.
I think that we have to be intentional. I mentioned before about speaking someone's name when they're not in a room. You know, there's often discussions about, hey, we have an opening, or hey, there's an opportunity, who should this next person be? That's our opportunity as leaders to say, I know someone, and use that opportunity to encourage consideration of a woman. Use those opportunities when you say, hey, we have a project, I know someone, let me speak about this one woman or this one person with a diverse background that otherwise may not be known.
So being here 18 years, I have to say it's very exciting to see us going in the right direction. I mean, for me, I measure it just by looking. I mean, look at us sitting at the table today. If I look at North America in general, there's so much progress. A lot of our general managers are female. Executive leadership team, you have female. And it's great to have a sponsorship from our global executive leadership team going in the right direction. And it's more than just female, it's diversity in every aspect. I would like to see us focus a bit more also on maybe the operational side of the business. Let's talk ramp agents, right? Ramp agents, you think, oh, it's a guy, it's a male-dominated department, and in reality, we're seeing more and more females come up as leaders in the ramp world.
Now I'm going to jump into my favorite question, and that is, what advice would you share to a young woman or to the next generation of leaders, let's say, that want to inspire inclusion across the network? Emma?
I would say the advice that I would give is be humble and just be eager to learn and listen. I think women are put into roles for a reason, but never be afraid to take on advice from anybody, no matter who it is. I think we can always learn more and we can always progress further if we really take on board other people's feedback or the way that they do things as well. Another big advice that I would have for women is embrace our womanhood. Working mothers just have something about them that thinking 5 steps ahead constantly, and use that to your advantage.
I would say just be yourself, right? I think this is the beauty of the diversity, right? This is the beauty of to show our vulnerabilities and our strengths, right? Even us as leaders, I always say that every day when we show that we need areas of development to our team, they will feel more included and with more psychology, safety to just be who they are.
My message would be to don't let fear hold you back. Go after the big swings, because we know that growth doesn't happen unless you're outside your comfort zone.
Well, that wraps up our conversation today, but I really want to thank you for being part of this amazing discussion, for sharing your insights, and for all the work you do to truly foster diversity and inclusion at Swissport. Thank you.
Thank you.